she is. Look at this. Elisa. Alyssa. So Alyssa and I, look, we gotta make some room.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh my God, look at this. See, not only are they colorful, but I bet they're gonna taste amazing. Look at that. Awesome, absolutely awesome. So I was very excited to find out, because I haven't been to Coast Guard House, and I have to say from a destination standpoint, is that I have not been to Coast Guard House since last summer, and that's because that's when I usually go to Narragansett, is in the summer. And we're going to get into a lot of the destination talk, but I was extremely excited to find out that you were sommelier.
I am, yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that, because everybody knows, I like wine a little bit, so we're going to, get into the wine stuff. And we're going to talk about the awesome pairings of how wine can go. But tell us a little about your background, because this is, to me, again, being the wine enthusiast that I am, this was super exciting. So you got to hear a little about the background, because it's not boring. I can guarantee you from what she told me, what she was doing before you were doing this, it was not boring. So let's talk a little bit about your background.
Well, the irony is I'm standing here. I used to walk this street because I was in banking for 20 years.
Banking. She went from banking to being a wine expert.
Yes.
Okay, so keep going. I'm sorry.
So I would walk down here like once every other week because I was a mobile person with the bank that I was with. So it's funny that now I'm here, not knowing I was walking by looking in where I would
That's
actually
so
be
funny.
doing a simulcast. But so I started in banking 20 years ago, and when I got well into my 10th to 12th year, I started thinking to myself, do I want my epitaph to say she was a great loan officer, a mortgage person? So I started looking for interest, and Johnson & Wales being completely convenient.
Johnson & Wales, there you
yes.
go, another big shout out.
I started looking for wine classes, and they have wine classes, and Ed Corey has been a great mentor to me. And I started taking WSET, and that is the school from London. So the Wine and Spirits Education Trust.
Now, did you do that while at Johnson & Wales, or was that kind of separate?
No, that was with Johnson & Wales. They offer levels 1, 2, and 3 there.
All right.
So I did those levels, and then Ed encouraged me to do Society of Wine Educators Certified Specialist in Wine. So I did that. So now I have confidence, and I'm still working at the bank.
Really?
Yeah, still working at the bank. So this was my kind of detraction after a stressful day. Let's go to wine class. And then I ended up setting my goal, because the next step with WSET was going for diploma, which diploma is basically a 3-year commitment. At that level, you have to go to Boston. So I ended up going to Boston and enrolling in the Grape Experience with Adam Chase, who's actually a Rhode Islander.
So not to interrupt, but sort of you had to do the Johnson & Wales courses, but then to get certified, right? So to become the sommelier, you had to go for that 3-year program.
Well, we're actually talking about 3 different schools here.
Wow.
So like the Certified Specialist in Wine
dedication.
is from the Society of Wine Educators. So that's like an American certification. The Wine and Spirits Education Trust is a global certification.
Okay.
It's very well known in countries outside of the United States very well.
Yes.
So it's a very recognized designation or certification. And then the Court of Master Sommeliers is where I stepped into that one last. Taking that exam February 2016, after I had all this education under my belt, I decided to go to Boston, and I took the level 2 certified exam.
Okay, so you got all 3 of these?
I did. I got my diploma in February 2016. I ended up going to London this past January to get my diploma from Gerard Bassett's, which was like the thrill of my life, and meet Jensis Robinson. So
oh my God,
this
is why I love this lady already. So the education and the amount of time that goes behind this, and like you said, it was basically about 4 years at this point?
I actually started the process 2016. I got to go back to December 2010.
Wow.
Is when
and
I
it was
started.
Because you were working too. I mean, you were
Right.
working at the bank and taking
Correct.
these courses to do these things. But how did you fall in love with this passion? Like, where did it evolve that you were going to get involved in wine?
I think it was an evolution of myself. I was always a kid that would go out, even as a teenager, when I would ride my bike, I would go that extra mile to go get that better slice of pizza. Or there was this kosher deli that you had to cross this dangerous intersection to get the best sloppy joe, like a kosher sloppy joe. So I think I've always had it. And then when I was in college, my girlfriend's parents entertained a lot. And that was my first real wine experience. And we're going back to the late 80s for this, okay? So this is when KJ was just coming out.
Kendall Jackson,
yeah. So I had Kendall Jackson Reserve Chardonnay, and I was like, wow, this is not
You loved it.
the bottle box big giant jug stuff. So it kind of changed my perspective. And then, my husband's been integral too. He's a Johnson & Wales graduate, and we would
Love that.
Yeah, find wine events, and we started doing that. And my first real wine dinner was an amazing one, and that was the Sauterne and the Foie Gras, and I was like, ding, ding, ding. So.
She has got it. So I have to say, so this is going to be our segue, because we're going to get into the rest of this now. This education to bring to a destination like Coast Guard House is amazing. And, I've looked at what Coast Guard House has done over the last few years, and they have had to make a transformation from the hurricane.
Yes.
That hit them, I can't even keep track of time, but it was what, 3 years ago?
Sandy we reopened in 2014,
Yeah.
the summer of 2014, so it was 2011, because
Right.
we were closed almost 2 years.
So there was a big transformation that had to take place from the damage that happened out there, and Coast Guard House is truly an institution for Rhode Island. It's a destination without any question. Just the iconic pictures of looking at it, where it's situated out there. It is a special destination to go out there. And one of the things I, again, want to hike back on before I get into the lovely wines and the dishes here to talk about is that it is not, and I mentioned this beginning of the show, none of these places are absolute destinations just for the summer. I chose them because of the fact that they are special to a lot of people for those reasons, and it's an excuse for a lot of us that have this problem traveling outside of cities to go to these areas in the summer. But, I was speaking to the owner, to Bob.
Yes.
And Bob had this great analogy that he mentioned to me, and he goes, in the winter, it's like being in a snow globe. And I thought that was perfect. I thought that was perfect how he exampled it. Because when it's snowing and you're at the restaurant, you feel like you're in a snow globe, and it's absolutely beautiful and going out there. And, to his credit and the amount of passion and energy you all put behind it to revamp the Coast Guard House and keep it going, I give you a tremendous amount of credit. And you've got a great team out there. So let's talk a little bit about what Coast Guard House is as a destination. How long has it been there? Do you know?
It's been there since I believe the 40s. The current ownership, exclusive of Bob, because Bob came involved in 2009-ish.
Mhm.
I think they've owned it since the 70s.
Wow.
So, and it's gone through a lot of evolutions,
Yeah.
some from Mother Nature.
Right, yeah.
So the last one, we had an opportunity to change the floor plan because Sandy just completely wiped out the first floor and make it more functional, because as we all know, culinary has evolved, and it's come to the forefront. So now it's a restaurant more than it is place for entertainment, or because we don't have entertainment downstairs anymore. It's all about the food and the dining experience.
Which is a huge commitment, again, to all of you and to making that another destination in Rhode Island. Let's talk about the menu, because you brought 2 dishes that are making me salivating right now. So let's talk about what we got here.
So this is our seasonal dish that we bring back in the summer, and they always tweak it a little bit. Chef Ray and Chef Angel. So this is a toga shari encrusted tuna, ahi tuna with edamame, your soba noodles. There's nori on there, cucumbers, and then it's in a white ponzu soy. You could see. So it's more of a room temperature dish. So it's not a hot dish, which makes it very refreshing when you come in for a meal, whether it's dinner or
anything with edamame I'm in love. But it's just like I think it's the soy that I'm getting. It's like making you want to just dive into it. It looks absolutely beautiful. Then what do we got over here?
That is one of the dishes that came to us right when we reopened at Sandy, and it's been like a favorite. It sells to all of our regular customers love it. It's beef short rib dumplings.
Beef short rib?
Beef short rib dumplings, yes. And it's on a bed of Asian slaw with miso barbecue sauce. So it's, again, it's got this savoriness to it, as well as just the miso barbecue has a slight hint of sweetness.
So you guys have got a really, your menu is not what people would think when they think Coast Guard House in Narragansett. Your menu is pretty diverse.
It is. We have, your traditional fish and chips, your fried calamari, and then, of course, you can come in and have a big hamburger. Our hamburgers are great. We get some of our products from Sunset Farm, which is right down the street.
Awesome.
But then if you want something that you want to take a little risk on, or you like Asian influence, or we do a lot of Latin influence with the swordfish, with the tomatillo gazpacho, and smoked potatoes.
So you are not bored pairing things up. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
It's fun. It's fun. And they like to change. And when we do our wine dinners, that just lets them be as artistic as they want to.
So from an event perspective, from the destination thing, if you're looking for an excuse, not that you need one in the summer, let's talk about the wine dinners, because that's a great opportunity to go out and experience.
Yes, and we do them once a month. We slow it down in the summer. We have one the end of July, and then we won't have one again until the end of September, but then it'll be October, November,
So
December.
you literally
January.
take a month off.
Right, literally take a month. Well, we don't usually have it in July, but I had an opportunity because I was out in Napa and I met the Staglin family, and they're coming to do a wine dinner the end of July, so we're super excited about that.
Beautiful. That's awesome.
Yeah, so and sometimes we switch it up. We do beer. We just did a foolproof beer dinner this last month. We've done Gray Sale. We've done a whiskey cigar dinner with
Really?
Sons of Liberty because we're definitely about local. I have local as in New York, but I also have Connecticut wines as well as Newport Vineyards is on our house Chardonnay.
Okay.
And then
It's your house Chardonnay?
Is our house, yeah.
It's beautiful.
And then we have our cocktail list, which we have a section that's totally committed to the local spirits, whether they're from New England or directly from like Sons of Liberty, because we carry their gin. We do a very cool cocktail called Dill You Like It.
So again, talking about local sourcing, I mean, you just covered wines, spirits, and food all at one time. When you do the dinner, so is it always a set price that come in and it's a certain amount of courses, or how's the
It
dinner
is a set
structured?
price, but
Okay.
our price range
Varies based on each event, right?
It
Right.
varies based on the producer, because that's going to dictate. Like Staglin is going to be
Right.
one of our higher tier one.
What's the date on that one?
It's Wednesday. Last Wednesday in July, I believe it's the
I'm gonna
26th.
Pull that up because
Yeah.
we don't want to miss that date.
Yeah.
So the last Wednesday in July is going to bring us to the 26th. You're
26th,
right, perfect. Okay.
yes. And then Larkmead is another one we're doing the end of September. That's another super exciting. There's a Rhode Island connection there because they're regional manager.
Okay.
Grew up in Rhode Island. He went to RI. I met him out there, and of course, being from Rhode Island, everybody's like, "We gotta come and do a dinner." So we're gonna have a dinner with.
We
Larkmead.
love those Rhode Island
Yeah,
connections. So how do people find out more information on the dinners? Is it the website, social media?
We do a combination of social media, being Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. We also have a constant contact, usually that goes out,
Okay.
as well as our website. So we do quite a bit of promotion.
So from all the destinations that I brought inside, even considering Federal Hill in the beginning, I highly encourage everyone to get involved with checking them out, not just on the sites, but signing up for this information, to keep yourself educated, to keep yourself in knowledge, because you don't want to miss these type of events if you can get out there to check them out. It's a great way to experience the destination. But one of the things before I'm definitely getting to your wine, we can skip on that for sure. But just before, a lot of people, I've gotten some comments, and one was just, I haven't been out there since the hurricane, and they're asking, kind of like what's changed. And you mentioned in the beginning about it's more of a focus on dining now, not so much entertainment on that first floor. Can you kind of just give a quick overview
Sure.
of the setup of the Coast Guard House?
Absolutely. So if anybody recalls when they used to walk into the restaurant, you walked into the original stone building, which was very dark.
Right.
And there was a fireplace and piano.
Oh,
That's
I
now
remember
the
the fireplace,
kitchen.
yeah.
That's the kitchen. So we've redirected the flow to where the kitchen used to be, which is where the waterfront was, looking over at Narragansett Beach.
Right.
So the lounge and bar are now looking right at Narragansett Beach, right out straight towards Newport, and then the original dining room is still the same, but we've modernized the interior with hardwood. They're not really hardwood; they're vinyl that look like hardwood.
Okay.
So it makes sense.
We'll
by
stick
the
with the
ocean.
hardwood. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, but it's resistant. That's part of the key. Is what we did was
Sea salt air and
the
all that,
sea
yes.
salt air and that, and we have a good amount of acoustical material because that's important to us. That's very aesthetically pleasing, so you're not going to notice it. So the acoustics are good.
Okay.
The bar is a white Carrera marble bar. It's
Bar's
like
gorgeous.
classic.
The bar is
So-
absolutely, I have to tell you, because that's where I actually sat my last time out there. So I sat at the bar and I had more than a couple glasses of wine. I wasn't driving, but it was absolutely, the bar was just stunning. It was absolutely beautiful and comfortable at the same time to be
Very
able to sit at that
comfortable.
bar.
That's what you just said. What we're trying to emulate is to be comfortable, and when you want to stay there, and it has this just feeling of being home.
Right.
Yes.
All right, so
Yeah.
importantly, because as a destination, you all know that I think the destinations that have great wine lists are very important, very comfortable, great ways to learn and pair things up. So we're going to go to the sommelier, and I'm going to learn about some of these new wines. So let's talk about this.
Sure.
I'm going to slide these up. What did you bring me tonight?
Okay, so rosé, as we all know, is like creating this big buzz.
That's the perfect time of year for it.
I went out on a limb this year, and I'm doing 4 still rosés. I didn't bring the 2 sparkling. I do
Okay.
have 2 sparkling rosés. These are all by the glass.
All the rosés are by the glass?
These are all by the glass, plus 2 sparkling. And then I still have 10 bottles that you can select from that range from different areas, different processes. So, but this gives you kind of a range of flavors.
Okay.
And I actually set them up here in the order of price range. So this being the most affordable, and this being the more expensive by the glass pour.
Okay.
So we have our Cadetto from Castorani, which is a Sorsuelo di Abruzzo, so from
She says it so
Montepulciano.
well.
Very just fun to drink, juicy cherry. It's delicious.
All right, we're going with this
Yeah.
one first. Okay, keep going. I'm going to listen as
Okay.
you're going through.
And then we have your traditional Côte de Provence, which is your Clementine, Caprice de Clementine, which is going to be your 50% Grenache and
I can't drink alone.
50%
It's like a sentence.
Cinsault. And then
Wait,
as a
50% Grenache, what was it by the price?
Cinsault.
Cinsault?
Cinsault,
Okay.
yes. And then the one American one that I brought in from Long Island, so it's close. I consider that
No, that's,
local,
yeah,
right?
of course, absolutely. Yeah,
So it's
far at all.
Bridge Lane and from the North Fork. So you're talking about a mix of 49% Cab Franc. You have the next is Merlot, and you're looking at Malbec and a little bit, I believe, of Petit Verdot that they changed.
So this is interesting from the local perspective on wines. Is that cheers? Is that
Cheers.
they are locally sourced these wines from New York. It's got great wines, just
Yes.
like Rhode Island, Connecticut. I just went to the Coastal Wine Trail thing this past
Oh,
weekend,
yes.
and it was beautiful. So there is a lot of locally sourced wines that are out that are phenomenal. Okay, these are all awesome.
Yeah, and then this is our full-bodied rosé, which this is one that I just love. We've had it on the list now for 2 seasons, and it's Chinon rosé, and that's 100% Cab Franc. So this family's been around for a long time making it. So it's going to definitely have that resilience of Cab Franc, which has that slate and lead pencil note that just kind of lingers through the
God,
palate.
I'm already in love. I'm going to be trying all these in just a couple minutes off air, so don't worry. I'll send them on Facebook how they all were. So just very quickly as we
Yes.
close that, I want to just say is that from your perspective, being something you've done a tremendous amount of education. You absolutely credit to the Coast Guard House as a destination. Guests can see you out there frequently to ask these questions.
Absolutely,
And to parents,
I
right?
love, yes. And
And you make it a big part of the whole menu. So
Absolutely.
wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining me today. It's been absolutely fantastic
Oh,
to have you
such
in.
a pleasure.
Really